Paris, chérie, mon beau Paris, say to
Hello, and welcome to Paris Set Me Free, mini photo critiques. Today I'm going to look at 3 photographs sent to me by René, who came on a photo tour with me, an extended photo tour, almost all day long, with his charming wife Lisa, and we had a great time. It was a surprise for René, so I think he had a good time, and I was joking with him that right from the word go, I was joking that I was pleased that I booked this tour with him, because he was giving me things that were useful for me before I was giving him stuff that was useful for him, I think. So it was a great experience, and Lisa was lovely and patient as she walked around with these 2 guys with their heads stuck in their cameras and discussing exciting series of numbers and things like that, as well as artistic stuff. So here are 3 pictures that René sent me. The first one I think has his wife in the picture, but it's a very enigmatic picture and that's why I like it. The lighting is superb. I guess it's night time, because if you look at the top here you can see that that's not natural daylight, and all the light is coming from somewhere up here going down onto the shop front. Boutique, I should say, and it's a lovely little atmospheric boutique. I don't know where it is, but I do know it's number 42. Haven't seen it before. Well, probably have, but I've got no idea where it is. And Lisa is standing very enigmatically, I guess, in the picture, nicely off to one side. And what I particularly like about this is this shadow, which doesn't go off to one side as shadows normally do, but literally is under her. It's almost as though she were a little toy soldier or character sitting on this base, or standing on this base. Her face is in shadow. It's not as in shadow as in this picture, because I must admit I did reduce the picture and gave it one little blip of sharpness to bring it back to the form it was in when René sent it to me. But it's a very nice photograph. I don't really have much more to say about it. It's just very, very atmospheric, and you do see this often in Paris, but you have to have an eye for it, and René certainly has an eye for it. In fact, he had an eye for so many things as we were walking around. I was grabbing lots of his ideas for most of the time, as much as he was using mine. Although, having said that, as I look through his Paris photography file or page on a site, I must admit I see a lot of the shots that we discussed together, some which he showed me and some which I showed him. Very many of them were shots which I suddenly wondered where he was, and that was one of the nice things. There was very little chance that he would follow me around like a sheep, and in fact I was following him around some of the time, as his excellent photographic eye saw one excellent shot after another. Although I do like to think that I took him to some places which allowed him to use that eye of his. Now, the second shot that he sent me to talk about is a bit embarrassing, because it's me actually. So here we go. Deep breath. Not too many photographers, I think, like to show pictures of themselves or talk about themselves. I must admit I do a series of self-portraits, and if you know my stuff you might guess that this is in one of the most famous bookshops in Paris, Shakespeare and Company, which is a treasure trove of photographic opportunities. For one thing, the bookshop itself is just amazing, with lots of little nooks and crannies, and they don't bother you. You can just stay there all day, take as many shots as you want. Upstairs, if you've never visited this place, it's really a must. Upstairs is a kind of library, they call it. It's not exactly a library. You don't take books away, but you can stay there all day if you want, which is wonderful. So we decided to take a few shots, self-portraits, well, mainly of myself, and we saw this frame just dangling there. And it's funny, if a frame's dangling there, you know I'm a fan of frames within frames. You already have the edge of the picture, which is a frame, so you need more than that to make a great shot. You see, here's another one dangling here. So I think I was up on this ladder actually, and looking back through this frame, which is at a really good angle, almost 90-degree angle to the actual frame of edge of the picture. So that's a good contrast. I took my camera with me because I'm a photographer, you know. What I didn't know was that there was this fierce light coming from above, which for the little hair that I've got left, it eliminated a bit more of it by bouncing off the top of my head, so thanks a lot for that. But I remember looking at in the screen after taking the shot and remembering this as quite a dramatic shot. And so I'm sort of accentuated, and in fact the edges of the picture are quite dull. Maybe René used a vignette effect. Looks like he might have done. And also you can see this extremely this lighting coming from one source is giving some great texture here on this corduroy jacket that I had. You can see every single edge of the corduroy pin sharp, and then here you can see that's where it turns the corner and it all goes into darkness with just tiny bits of detail like there in the back. So it's a dramatic shot, and it'll probably go into my self-portraits gallery at some point, and it's a great place for that sort of thing. I remember taking some others where these sort of bookshelves, I was on one side and René was on the other, and he took a picture, a very good picture I think, of just my eyes peering through there. And there was one other one which I really like, which is where I'm holding a book which says something like "Forever Young," looking suitably wistful and wishing to be young forever. Right, here's the last one he sent me, and as you can see, it's an example of quite a dramatic picture, but you had to see it. You had to see that it was dramatic, otherwise it's just another lamppost. But what you've got is this. You've got this thing at the bottom which anchors the whole thing, makes it stable. I'm quite a fan of having an enormous bit of sky with a very thin sliver of buildings in order to give it a base, and then something dramatic going up. That's what we've got here. If I just reduce the picture down a little bit so that you can see all of it. There it is, and you've got a very strong shot, because this is very much horizontal, going from left to right, perhaps at a slight angle, but not really noticeable. Then you've got this amazing thing zooming out at you in this direction, and there's another extreme angle to that, this going out in that way, perfectly filling this top part of the frame. There's still plenty of space around there. I would have probably cropped that pretty much the same, with almost exactly the same distance between that edge and the top. But it's this that I like. This is almost exactly the same shape as this if you drew a rectangle around here, and they complement each other very nicely, I think. And also this is covered in these stickers, which makes it far more interesting actually. This is covered in nothing at all, perfectly classically Parisian, and this is absolutely covered in all sorts of strange stickers. And the sky's nicely graduating, getting darker at the top there, and those angles really complement each other very nicely, showing, as I often like to show, something classical and beautiful and a slightly less glamorous side of Paris. And he's got a bit of tree filling in that gap there. Well, that's all I've got time for. Thanks a lot, and see you again in Paris sometime, René and Lisa.
Depuis que je suis à Paris, le jour et la nuit, je suis gris. J'ai compris la douceur de vivre. Je suis fou de joie, je suis ivre. Depuis que je suis à Paris.